The immense chamber, a cathedral of obsidian and shimmering energy conduits, hummed with a suppressed dread. Before the assembled council of the Krill Imperium, a holographic projection flickered, a chaotic dance of light and shadow representing the void beyond their controlled territories. Within that void, a single anomalous signature pulsed with an unnerving calmness, a defiance of all known physics. Grand Strategos Valkresh, his chitinous mandibles clicking nervously, addressed the hushed assembly. For cycles, we have monitored the expansion of this entity, this humanity. Their technological trajectory is unprecedented, their disregard for established galactic protocols alarming. Initial assessments suggested a species on the cusp of interstellar travel, primitive by our standards. We were mistaken. He paused, the silence amplifying the gravity of his words. The latest intelligence indicates a warp drive capability exceeding our own by a significant margin. Their energy weapons, novel and devastatingly efficient. They have already colonized several star systems, expanding at a rate that threatens to destabilize the established power balance. A tremor of unease rippled through the council. The Krill, a species forged in the crucible of endless warfare, valued order and predictability above all else. This human element, this chaotic variable, was anathema to their carefully constructed empire. Councillor Xyler, a master of political maneuvering, spoke, his voice a low rasp. Strategos, your assessment paints a grim picture, but surely with our superior fleet strength, our millennia of combat experience, we can contain this threat. A show of force, a demonstration of our power should be sufficient to deter further expansion. Valkresh shook his head, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the flickering holographic projection. That was our initial assumption, Counselor. We dispatched a fleet to establish a perimeter, a clear demarcation of our territory, a standard procedure. The humans ignored it. They continued their advance undeterred. He hesitated, a hint of something akin to fear creeping into his voice. Then they encountered our fleet. The holographic projection shifted, resolving into a chaotic scene of destruction. Krill warships, once symbols of the Imperium's might, were now twisted wrecks, adrift in the cold void of space. Energy blasts, unlike anything the Krill had ever encountered, tore through their shields and armor with terrifying ease. The engagement lasted less than a planetary rotation, Valkresh said, his voice barely a whisper. Our armada was annihilated. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of panicked whispers. The Krill Imperium, unchallenged for centuries, had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of a species they had initially dismissed as primitive. The implications were staggering. Grand Admiral Arzak, a veteran of countless campaigns, slammed his fist on the obsidian table. Impossible! Our fleets are the finest in the galaxy. There must be some mistake. Valkresh turned to face the Admiral, his gaze unwavering. There is no mistake, Admiral. We have analyzed the combat logs, the sensor data. The humans, they possess a technology far beyond our comprehension. Their ships are faster, their weapons more powerful, their tactics unpredictable. They fought with a cold, ruthless efficiency that is unsettling. Xyler, ever the pragmatist, interjected. Strategos, while I appreciate the thoroughness of your report, panic serves no purpose. We must analyze this situation rationally. What are the humans' motives? What are their demands? Perhaps a negotiated settlement is possible. A treaty, a demarcation of territories. We can offer them resources, technology, anything to avoid further conflict. Valkresh sighed, a low, mournful sound. We have attempted communication, Counselor, multiple times. They have acknowledged our transmissions, but they have not responded. They continue their advance, silent and implacable. It is as if they are driven by some unknown purpose. The council fell silent once more, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. The Krill Imperium, a civilization built on conquest and control, was now facing an enemy they could not understand, an enemy they could not defeat. Across the vast gulf of interstellar space, aboard the human warship Indomitable Asterisk, Captain Eva Rostova stared at the holographic display. The remnants of the Krill fleet were scattered across the void, silent monuments to a battle that had barely registered on the ship's energy sensors. She felt no sense of triumph, only a cold, clinical detachment. Report, she said, her voice calm and measured. All systems nominal, Captain, replied Lieutenant Commander Jayan, his voice echoing through the bridge. Warp drive fully charged, course plotted to Kepler 186F, no further contact from the Krill vessels. Rostova nodded, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. The Krill, like so many other alien species, had underestimated humanity. They had seen them as primitive, as weak, as easy prey. They had failed to understand the true depth of human resolve, the unwavering determination that had driven them to the stars. Send a message to Earth, Rostova said. Inform them that the Krill perimeter has been breached. Tell them that the path is clear. Jayan hesitated. Captain, are you certain? We still know so little about these krill. Engaging them further could provoke a wider conflict. Rostova turned to face him, her eyes steely. We have no choice, Commander. Krill represent a threat to humanity's future. They are expansionist, militaristic, and utterly ruthless. If we do not stop them here, they will eventually turn their attention to Earth. We cannot allow that to happen. She paused, her gaze softening slightly. Besides, we are not the aggressors here. The krill fired the first shot. We are simply defending ourselves. Jayan nodded, accepting her reasoning. Understood, Captain. Message sent. Rostova turned back to the holographic display, her mind racing. She knew that the war with the krill was far from over. This was just the beginning, but she also knew that humanity was ready for the fight. They had endured countless hardships, overcome unimaginable challenges. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger than ever. They would not be intimidated by the Krill Imperium. They would not be deterred from their mission. They would prevail. The Indomitable engaged its warp drive, disappearing into the swirling vortex of space-time. It left behind only the silent wreckage of the Krill fleet, a stark warning to any who dared to stand in humanity's path. Back in the Krill Council chamber, a new sense of urgency gripped the assembly. The failure of the initial fleet had shaken their confidence, but it had also ignited a burning desire for revenge. Councillor Xyler, his voice trembling with rage, demanded action. We cannot allow this humanity to humiliate us in this manner. We must assemble a larger fleet, a force capable of crushing their resistance. We must obliterate them from the galaxy. Valkresh held up a hand, silencing the angry councillor. That is precisely what they expect us to do, Xyler. They are provoking us, luring us into a trap. We must not play into their hands. Then what do you propose, strategos? Arzak demanded. Do you suggest we simply surrender our territory to these upstarts? No, Admiral, Valkresh replied. Propose a different approach. We must study them. We must understand their technology, their tactics, their motivations. We must learn their weaknesses and exploit them. Only then can we hope to defeat them. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled councillors. I am proposing a joint operation. A team of our finest scientists, engineers, and strategists will be dispatched to analyze the wreckage of the destroyed fleet. They will examine every piece of debris, every fragment of technology. They will scour the combat logs, the sensor data. They will leave no stone unturned in their quest for knowledge. Xyler nodded slowly, his eyes narrowing in thought. It is a risky strategy, strategos, but it may be our only option. Very well. I will allocate the necessary resources, but I must warn you, Valkresh, if this operation fails, if we are unable to find a way to defeat these humans, the consequences for the Imperium will be catastrophic. Valkresh bowed his head in acknowledgement. I understand, Counselor. I will not fail you. As the council meeting adjourned, Valkresh remained in the chamber, staring at the holographic projection of the destroyed fleet. He knew that the fate of the Krill Imperium rested on his shoulders. He knew that the humans represented a threat unlike any they had ever faced. But he also knew that the Krill were a resilient species, a people who had survived countless wars and overcome unimaginable hardships. They would not surrender to these humans without a fight. They would learn their secrets, exploit their weaknesses, and ultimately they would prevail. He just hoped they could do it before it was too late. Weeks later, deep within a Krill research facility, a team of scientists hunched over a recovered fragment of a human warship. Dr. Lyra, the head of the research team, stared intently at the intricate network of circuits and wires, her mandibles twitching in frustration. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, she muttered, her voice barely audible. The energy conduits, the processing units, the materials themselves, they defy all known physics. Another scientist, Dr. Kale, approached Lyra, his voice hesitant. Doctor, I believe I have made a discovery. I have analyzed the energy signature of the human weapons. It is based on a principle we have never encountered before. They seem to be manipulating the very fabric of space-time. Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. Such a technology is purely theoretical. No species has ever been able to achieve it. Yet the evidence is undeniable, Doctor, Kale replied. The energy signature matches the theoretical models perfectly. The humans, they have mastered a technology that is beyond our comprehension. Lyra fell silent, her mind reeling from the implications of Kale's discovery. If the humans truly possessed such a powerful technology, then the Krill Imperium was in grave danger. They were facing an enemy that was far more advanced than they had ever imagined. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the research facility, shattering the tense silence. A voice echoed over the intercom. Warning, warning, unidentified vessel detected approaching the research facility. All personnel evacuate immediately. Lyra and Kale exchanged a look of horror. They knew what this meant. The humans had found them. They raced towards the evacuation shuttle, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they reached the landing bay, they saw the approaching vessel. It was a single human warship, sleek and deadly, its weapon systems fully charged. Lyra knew that there was no escape. The Indomitable had arrived. The Indomitable hovered above the research facility, its sensors scanning the structure for any signs of resistance. Captain Rostova stood on the bridge, her face grim. "Any sign of the Krill research team?" she asked. "Negative, Captain," Jayan replied. "They have evacuated the facility. We are detecting several escape shuttles attempting to flee." Rostova hesitated for a moment, then made her decision. "Target the escape shuttles," she said, her voice cold. "Destroy them all." Jayan looked at her in surprise. "Captain, are you certain? These are unarmed civilians. Surely we can't just—" "We have no choice, Commander," Rostova interrupted. "These are Krill scientists. They are working to develop weapons that could be used against humanity. We cannot allow them to succeed. We must eliminate them, no matter the cost." Jayan nodded slowly, accepting her orders. "Understood, Captain. Targeting escape shuttles." The Indomitable unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, tearing through the escape shuttles with ease. The Krill scientists were vaporized in an instant, their hopes and dreams extinguished in a flash of light. Rostova watched the destruction unfold, her face betraying no emotion. She knew that she had made a difficult decision, a decision that would weigh heavily on her conscience. But she also knew that she had done what was necessary to protect humanity. As the last of the escape shuttles was destroyed, Rostova turned to Jayan. "Set course for the Krill homeworld," she said. "It's time to take the fight to them." Jayan hesitated again, his face etched with concern. "Captain, are you certain? Attacking the Krill homeworld would be an act of war. It would escalate the conflict to a whole new level." "I am aware of the risks, Commander," Rostova replied. "But we cannot afford to wait. The Krill are a dangerous species. If we give them time to recover, they will only become stronger. We must strike now while we have the advantage. We must show them that humanity will not be intimidated." She paused, her gaze hardening. "Besides, they annihilated our colony at Proxima Centauri. There were billions of innocent lives lost. This is about justice, Commander. It's about revenge." Jayan nodded, his resolve hardening. "Understood, Captain. Setting course for the Krill homeworld." The Indomitable engaged its warp drive, disappearing into the swirling vortex of spacetime. It left behind only the wreckage of the research facility and the shattered remains of the escape shuttles, a testament to humanity's unwavering determination to survive, and its chilling ruthlessness in the face of existential threat. On the Krill homeworld, a wave of panic swept through the capital city as the asterisk Indomitable emerged from warp space. The city's defense systems, once thought to be impenetrable, were easily bypassed by the human warship's advanced technology. Within minutes, the Indomitable was hovering above the city, its weapons systems targeting key infrastructure and government buildings. The Krill Council was in chaos. Some called for immediate surrender while others demanded a desperate defense. But Grand Strategos Valkresh knew that neither option would save them. The humans were too powerful. Their technology was too advanced. Their resolve was too strong. He stood before the council, his voice calm and resolute. "There is only one way to survive this," he said. "We must offer them something they cannot refuse." The councilors looked at him in confusion. "What do you mean, Strategos?" Xyler asked. "What could we possibly offer them that they would value more than our destruction?" Valkresh smiled grimly. "We offer them knowledge. We offer them our history, our culture, our technology. We offer them everything we have learned in our millennia of existence. In exchange, we ask only for one thing, our survival." The councilors gasped in astonishment. "You would betray our civilization for the sake of your own life?" Xyler demanded. "No, Xyler," Valkresh replied. "I am trying to save our civilization. If we continue to resist, the humans will destroy us all. But if we offer them our knowledge, we may be able to find a way to coexist. We may be able to learn from each other. We may be able to build a better future together." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled councilors. "I know this is a difficult decision, but I believe it is the right one. I urge you to consider it carefully." After a long and agonizing debate, the Krill Council finally agreed to Valkresh's proposal. They sent a message to the asterisk Indomitable asterisk, offering the humans their complete and unconditional surrender. Captain Rostova received the message with a mixture of surprise and suspicion. She had expected the Krill to fight to the bitter end. She had not anticipated their sudden willingness to surrender. She consulted with her senior officers, weighing the pros and cons of accepting the Krill's offer. Some argued that they should continue the attack, wiping out the Krill threat once and for all. Others argued that they should accept the surrender, taking advantage of the Krill's knowledge and technology. After careful consideration, Rostova made her decision. "We will accept their surrender," she said, "but we will do so on our terms." She sent a message back to the Krill outlining her demands. She demanded that the Krill disarm their military, dismantle their war industry, and open their borders to human inspection. She also demanded that the Krill hand over all of their technological knowledge, their historical archives, and their cultural artifacts. The Krill, with no other choice, agreed to Rostova's demands. The war between humanity and the Krill Imperium had come to an end, but the story was far from over. Over the next few months, human scientists and engineers pored over the Krill's vast store of knowledge. They were amazed by what they discovered. The Krill had developed technologies that were far beyond anything humanity had ever imagined. They had mastered energy manipulation, warp drive technology, and artificial intelligence. They had also accumulated a vast store of historical and cultural knowledge, spanning millennia of Krill civilization. But the humans also discovered something else, something far more disturbing. Buried deep within the Krill archives, they found evidence of an ancient signal, a message from beyond the known galaxy. The signal was faint and distorted, but it was undeniably artificial. It appeared to be a warning, a desperate plea for help. The Krill had dismissed the signal as an anomaly, a meaningless cosmic noise. But the humans, with their superior technology, were able to decipher it. The message spoke of a great and terrible threat, a cosmic entity that was devouring entire galaxies. The entity was known only as the Devourer, and it was rapidly approaching the Milky Way galaxy. The humans realized that the war with the Krill had been a distraction, a trivial conflict compared to the existential threat posed by the Devourer. They knew that they had to unite with the Krill and with every other sentient species in the galaxy to face this ultimate challenge. Captain Rostova contacted Grand Strategos Valkresh, sharing the information about the Devourer. Valkresh was initially skeptical, but after examining the evidence, he realized that the humans were telling the truth. The Krill and the humans, once bitter enemies, were now united by a common enemy. They began to work together, pooling their resources and knowledge to prepare for the arrival of the Devourer. They developed new weapons, new defenses, and new strategies. They also reached out to other alien species, warning them of the impending threat and inviting them to join their alliance. Slowly but surely, a united front began to form against the Devourer. Species that had once been at war with each other now stood side by side, ready to defend their galaxy. The humans, with their unwavering determination and their advanced technology, played a key role in forging this alliance. They had shown the galaxy that even the most bitter enemies could unite in the face of a common threat. Years later, the Devourer arrived. It was a cosmic behemoth, a swirling mass of energy and darkness that blotted out the stars. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The united fleet of the Milky Way galaxy engaged the Devourer in a desperate battle. The battle raged for months, with countless ships and lives lost. But the alliance held firm, refusing to yield to the overwhelming power of the Devourer. In the end, it was the humans who found the key to defeating the Devourer. They discovered a vulnerability in its energy matrix, a weakness that could be exploited. They developed a new weapon, a device that could disrupt the Devourer's energy flow and cause it to implode. Captain Rostova, once again at the helm of the Asterisk Indomitable, led the final assault on the Devourer. She piloted the ship deep into the heart of the Devourer, braving unimaginable dangers. She fired the weapon, and the Devourer shuddered and convulsed. Its energy flow was disrupted, and it began to implode upon itself. With a blinding flash of light, the Devourer was destroyed. The galaxy was saved. The victory was costly. Countless lives had been lost, and entire star systems had been ravaged. But the galaxy had survived, thanks to the courage and determination of the humans and their allies. In the aftermath of the war, a new era of peace and cooperation dawned in the Milky Way galaxy. The humans and the Krill, along with the other alien species, formed a galactic federation dedicated to promoting peace, understanding, and mutual prosperity. The humans had proven themselves to be more than just a powerful species. They had shown themselves to be leaders, diplomats, and peacemakers. They had united the galaxy against a common enemy, and they had led the way to a brighter future. Captain Eva Rostova, the woman who had once been feared as a destroyer of worlds, was now hailed as a hero, a savior of the galaxy. She had shown the galaxy that even the most ruthless warriors could find redemption, that even the most bitter enemies could become allies. As she looked out at the stars, Rostova reflected on the long and arduous journey that had brought humanity to this point. They had faced countless challenges, overcome unimaginable hardships, and emerged stronger than ever. They had learned the true meaning of unity, the true power of hope. The future was uncertain, but Rostova was confident that humanity, together with its allies, could face any challenge that lay ahead. They had proven that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope. They had proven that even in the face of annihilation, humanity could prevail. The armada may have been destroyed in minutes, but the future would be forged in millennia.